Hi everyone, Shefali here, and I am back again with another video on security in the cloud. So today we are going to check how we can secure our own account, and we are going to have a demo on a couple of the tasks which we are going to do. Like the very first one is setting up the contact details in our AWS account. So I have shared my screen and this is my AWS account. As a very first step, if you can see here, on clicking on the name, I can see all details with the menu and I am going to click on account. So after clicking on the account, we are going to get a window where we can set up our primary contacts, also our alternate email addresses, right? So this is not my exact address, but it shows my, the artificial phone number and the address. And apart from that, we can have the alternate contacts as well, where we can put the different emails for the billing or for the operations or for the security. So AWS uses these email addresses to contact you, and it's really important to retain these addresses. So this is about setting up the contacts in your AWS account. Let's move on to the second step, which is about restrict the use of the root user. Now, let's go back to another home window. Now, what is a root user? So the root user is created when you sign up for an AWS account. It means you are owner of that account, and this user has full ownership privileges and permissions over the account that cannot be changed. So all the administrative rights are given to this root user. So as a best practice, we should use the root user only for doing specific tasks, but for our daily activities, we should create the IAM user by giving the, by following the principle of least privileges, where we give the minimum credentials and then minimum rights to the user. Now, to restrict the use of root user, first is requiring the MFA. So MFA is multi-factor authentication, which is nothing but another one-time password which we give to our account. And for that, we have to enable MFA. So we are going to see that. But before that, let's create an administrative user so that you don't have to use a root user for everyday tasks. So the next step would be configuring the console access for each user. Okay, so for that, I'm going to the another service that is IAM. Let me click on IAM, which is Identity Access and Management. Now here in this service, we can create the users, we can set permissions for those users, and then for our daily activities, we can directly log in from these users. Okay, let's check on, see here, we still, like my root user here, it is not MFA enabled. So we would do that in the further steps. Let's check on the users part. And if I have a plan to add a user, let me do that. Let me give the username here. Click on next. And then here I can give the, maybe if I want to add the user to the group. So for that, I need to create a group as well. Let's create a group. So as of now, I don't have any group. Let me give here maybe administrator as the group names, maybe administrators. Okay. So multiple people we can have into this group. And now let's check on the permission policy. So I am planning to give administrator access to this group so that the people who would be into this would act as administrator. So let's click on this. Now these are the AWS managed policies, which are predefined by AWS, but we can create our own customized policies as well. After this, the next step would be, let's click on next. So here we have the review window where a username is given, and okay, console password is none. let's create the user. So this is how I have created a user, and now for my daily activities, I can log in as a John, okay, in my new window, and then we can have our daily activities through the John. But apart from that, I would like to show you another service through which we can create the users, and that is the IAM Identity Center. So let me put here IAM Identity Center, and here it is. So this is the successor to the AWS single sign-on. Okay, let the window get open, and let me show you how we can do that. I have to enable this first, so let me enable IAM Identity Center. Once I enable it, it gives me an action to create AWS organization. So because through this IAM Identity Center, we can manage the multiple accounts in the organization. Now, in the next step, we are going to choose our identity source. Okay. Let's click on choose the identity source. And as of now, I don't have any external directories. So I am going to take the default one. Okay, this is the identity center directory, which is the default one. And here we have the URL as well. Enable the IAM Identity Center for the first time, it automatically configures it with the default Identity Center directory, right? But if you want to maybe change it with your existing Active Directory, then you can go to the actions and then change identity source. So choose this option, Active Directory, or maybe the external identity provider if you have that external existing directory and you want to integrate it, right? So as of now, I'm clicking on cancel, and we are continuing with the default identity center directory. Okay, after this, let's go to the AWS account, which is under the multi-account permissions. And here it shows us the tree structure of the AWS organization, and we can click on like for which account we want the administrative access. So I am enabling this, my management account. Okay. And after that, let's go to the permission set as well. So I have to create the permission set, and I am going to give the administrative rights for this. So predefined permission set we have, we can do the customized one also. Let's go with the predefined. I am going to give administrator access so that I will not use my root user for my daily activities. Here I can give duration, like for how long I want the user to act as administrator once, the user being logged in. So let's click on next. And here is a review window, which shows that we are giving the permission type of administrator access, duration for 1 hour, and then let's create. So with this, we have created the permission set, that is administrator access. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so once the permission set is created, like here with the administrator access, I'm going to my AWS accounts, okay, which is under the multi-account permissions. And let me check this again, because I want this account to have the administrator rights. And here I'm going to assign those rights, those permissions to a user. So let's click on the user. I already added a user, John, and now I want to assign those administrator access permission sets to this user. So through this method, I have created the permission set, which is administrator access, and also I have assigned it to the user, John. Let's click on submit. So once this is done successfully, we can see here that we have reprovisioned the AWS account successfully and applied the updated permission set to the account. So if you go to the dashboard now, then we have here the URL, which we can open it in our new private window. Okay. And I can maybe let me click on that. And let me tell you one more step. I got invitation from Identity Center in my email ID, and I have verified it. So we have to accept the invitation before following this further. So that already I've accepted. And now I'm going to give here the name John. That is what I gave in the username, and now password. So I'm going to give the password that I set. Click on sign in. So this is how successfully I have logged in as a John. And you can see here the username John, right? So under this Shefali Aurora organization, we have now the user John, and now so this user John, we can do our daily task, and John has all the administrative rights. So this is one of the best practice where we are not using our root user. So this is about the second last step, and in the last, I would also like to show you how we can set the MFA, which is a best practice as per AWS account security. So let's go to the account name, and I'm going to click on security credentials. Now under security credentials, we have to check whether it is MFA enabled or not. So you can see here, it gives me the red alert, you don't have MFA assigned. So let's do that. So let's click on assign MFA. Now these are the steps to enable MFA. Okay. I'm going to give a device name here. Let me put here authenticator and select the MFA device. So there are different ways with which we can set up our MFA, that is multi-factor authentication. So one is Authenticator app, where we can download the app in our smartphones. So it can be the Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator, and many more. I would share the link in my comment section. And then also we have these apps for the iPhone and for the Android both. Apart from that, we have security keys. So these are the third-party keys available in the market, like YubiKey is one of them. And then another one is hardware TOTP token, that is time-based one-time password token. So as of now, I'm going with the Authenticator app. And I'm going to open my mobile here. I already have the Authenticator app, which is Google Authenticator. So as a first step of doing installation, I have done that. As a second step, I should scan this QR code from my mobile. So let me do that. And I have done. Now, after scanning this QR code, I am going to put 2 consecutive MFAs, which I can see in my mobile. So this is the first one. 162531, and within few seconds I am going to get another MFA code, and here it is. So let me put here. I'm just waiting to refresh it. So 108 and then 502. With this, I've clicked on add MFA, and now it says that MFA device assigned. So we can register up to 8 MFA devices of any combination. It means we can install multiple apps in our mobile, and up to 8 MFA devices, which can be not only the apps, but maybe the hardware authenticator that also is supported. So this was all about the security of the account, but still we have a few more practices, which I'm going to cover in the part 2. Thank you so much for joining this. Thank you so much for listening to this session. Have a good day. Take care. Bye-bye. Adding a user to whom we want to give the administrator access. So let's click on the users. And here I'm going to add a user. Let's do that. Click on add user. Let's give the user's detail. I'm giving here John. Okay, now this is about send email to this user with the password setup instructions. So I'm giving my email ID here because I have access to it. So make sure the email ID that you are using, you should have access to it. And with that, let's give the first name and let's give the last name as well. And click on next. So this is about creating a group, and it's optional. So as of now, I'm not creating any group. And here is the review window, which shows the primary email and the username, first name, last name. Let's click on add user. Now, once the user is added, we have to do the permission set, assigning the permissions. So that would be the next step for here. So in that case, let's go to the permission set and then assign the permissions to this particular user. So let's click on this